Do you ever think about living a different life, one with maybe less stress? Tupac Shakur was another person that had these thoughts as well, or most likely, except many people believe that he might have actually succeeded. If we can get to the bottom of whether Tupac is still alive, and his death was in fact staged, we could influence him to return as the icon he once was, and continue to inspire the people. I have extensively researched the rap icon, listened to his music, and have come up with some evidence to why and how Tupac probably faked his own death. From song lyrics to interviews, I've collected plenty of data suggesting that the rap icon is still alive. Although the thought of faking your own death may seem impossible, there is in fact strong evidence that Tupac planned for years and was successful. During this presentation, I'll take you over the evidence of Tupac's fake death in chronological order, starting with the clues during his life that he hinted in songs. Next, I'll take you over the actual event of his murder, and finally concluding with the sightings after his alleged death. First, I'm going to discuss the hints Tupac dropped during his life, namely his last released studio album, which is pictured below. If you read the artist's name, one might think that this wasn't Tupac that created this album. However, he actually changed his stage name from Tupac to Machiavelli in his final album in honor of Niccolò Machiavelli, the famous Italian war strategist who famously faked his own death. This immediately raised the suspicions of his fans, as many people didn't know who Machiavelli was. If you also turn your attention to the center of the cover art, you will also see a picture of Jesus dying on the cross. This again raised the suspicions of his fans, as Tupac wasn't seen originally as a very religious individual. And in fact, if you know the story of Jesus, you will know that Jesus originally died on the cross and was later resurrected, giving two people that originally people thought was dead, and then eventually came back to life, which is just more evidence to suggest that Tupac has been planning to fake his death for so long. Next, I'll discuss the actual songs that were released in the studio album. One was titled To Live and Die in LA, which obviously raises suspicions of his fans, or suggesting that Tupac was prepared to die, or possibly fake his death and continue to live in peace. Also, in the song titled Open Fire, Tupac states, quote, "Word to God, I've been ready to die since I was born," end quote. The lyric from Open Fire can be taken as a hint to inside the rapper's thoughts of possibly committing suicide, but in the event of his death, most likely faking his death. Next, I will discuss the actual event of Tupac's alleged murder scene, and how the police footage doesn't add up to the evidence. From researching the police footage and crime scene, there is strong evidence suggesting that the death was staged. If you look at the picture below, this was in fact taken minutes before Tupac was shot and murdered in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip at a red light. If you look in the picture where the key should be in the ignition, there is in fact no keys. This raised many questions for his fans, suggesting that the crime scene was in fact staged and Tupac was still alive. Another fact that Tupac's fans always get hung up on, and still to this day, is that Tupac was shot in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip after a Mike Tyson fight. There must have been thousands of witnesses that seen Tupac's shooter. However, no one was arrested. Many people make the case that Tupac wouldn't allow any of his friends to get arrested, or anybody, so to speak, just because Tupac was in fact not dead. He wouldn't allow anybody go to jail for a crime that he knew nobody committed. Finally, I will discuss the sightings after Tupac's alleged death, and people see him all the time. There have been in fact hundreds of thousands of Tupac sightings that have been reported by police around the world and documented by people using their phone cameras or whatever kind of camera they have around them. One of the main controversies happened in Haiti, where over 500 reported sightings of Tupac, in which people called the police and told them to take action. Another one is pictured below, when in fact a bargoer in New Orleans in 2009 took this picture of a Tupac lookalike. Although we do not know whether it was him or in fact an impersonator, the image looks exactly like Tupac down to the nose ring. Tupac also has been featured in plenty of music videos after his death. One music video being called Amsterdam to LA by Chillo, and another called Thug Life 2013 by Outlaws. Although there is no real way to prove whether the footage was captured when Tupac was alive or somehow photoshopped later, the evidence is enough for fans. Through the evidence that Tupac hid in his lyrics, his clearly staged crime scene, and the hundreds of reported sightings, Tupac still may be alive and living the peaceful life he always wanted. Although the thought of faking your own death may seem impossible, Tupac very well might have succeeded. We may never know whether Tupac is dead or alive. However, we do know that he's resting peacefully somewhere, reflecting on his previous life.